That's exactly what it is.
Art's not gonna be here, right?
You can go whenever you're ready.
He sent an email, yeah, he's not gonna be here. So we've got.
Sandwich if you have one?
Yeah.
I got. Lots of close games.
Again, I got it written down.
I written down too. Yeah, you're going in, you're going in.
Sunday?
Right now, I'm gonna- these folks are here to talk about Surgeon's Fire Department.
No.
Has trust. Not the first rodeo.
White sands is down there.
Right.
It's like they had 6 inches of snow. And it's like it just paralyzes the whole city.
Plumbing.
Yeah. They have no way to handle it.
That is the little. Right after you.
I think you're actually showing for at least one
Yeah.
person.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I am good.
Okay,
There's really no end in sight. I look at the.
you guys set?
No.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey. You can see, welcome. Well, we typically open with our public session. Anyone that has an issue, a question or a concern, please stand, state your name and address so that the clerk can hear it and
We have to stand up there.
you do not have to. I know I can hear you fine, Jack.
I know it's me, so I'm not gonna say my name.
Jack Rose.
First of all, before my wife starts to talk, I don't know what you people were thinking. But with this fire department going to do it, I don't know what was in your minds. But I guarantee all you people would be replaced next election. Everybody, if I had something to do with it, and these people have something to do with it, you're all gonna be replaced. And I'll be running for supervisor on an independent. Because The people have got to have a vote in this town. No more backroom politics. No more backroom contracts. This has got to stop. You're all gonna be replaced. Now I give it to my wife.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. My name is Rosemary Gross. I live in East Syracuse on the North Territory Fire District. And you guys had this thing where you decided not to have the contract with our fire department that's been there for 100 years. Volunteers, generations of people. My husband, my son, back there have been in, well, so I want to go through some things that, you know, we decided that maybe there's some problems here. The contract that you have with DeWitt. It says the fire district likewise
Well,
maintains,
you gotta speak up. They can't hear it back.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yes, yell, like you have.
The fire department likewise maintains suitable apparatus and equipment which will be provided to protect the protection district residents and property. Oh, okay, that's the first one that you got a problem with. You have one fire engine at that building. One. We're gonna go through some of these buildings that are in this, our district. 19 miles of district. Okay? Not one place in DeWitt has over 3-story buildings. We have, what do we have? DeWitt has no training for buildings over, I said 2 stories, but we'll say 3. Manufacturing buildings, hotels, apartments. Verizon has a new building. Amazon. The old Bristol, I don't know how to pronounce it, lots. Carrier, Burn Dairy. How many other manufacturers are in our district? Your DeWitt has nothing. They've never been trained. Our guys go to these places. They make sure that they are knowing what's in those buildings before a tragedy happens. They make sure that they know where the electric is. They make sure they know where the sprinklers are. They make sure where there's fire escapes. They have the layout of all the buildings. You don't have, DeWitt does not have that. And they're not going to have time with 2 guys during the day and 2 guys at night, that I'm assuming that's what's happened, that they're going to be able to go out and train, because who's going to train them? You can't just send somebody into a building. You have to have a person that has the knowledge of the buildings to train the firefighters. Some of this I don't understand, because I have some things that had what the East Syracuse was asking for their contract. But I have like different things and I don't understand. So it says in 2024, there was $1,661. I'm thinking that's a tax thing. And they asked for $2,390,000 this year. When I did the thing for the 2,390 and the difference, it was 728,000 was the difference in what they were asking for. Now you decided to put in these DeWitt firemen, and you're giving them $2 million this coming year. That's for their salaries. That does not include any of their hang on. It's not including any of their fuel or equipment. And I don't know, if there's a price on that. Nobody's put a price out for what their fuel and equipment's going to cost them. And you have a thing in there to get 2 new trucks at $4 million. How do these numbers even make any sense? They weren't asking for $4 million for new trucks. They were just asking to be able to hire a couple of firefighters. And as you know, almost every district has done that. You have DeWitt that has 20 firefighters paid at a beginning salary of $128,000. And East Syracuse in their proposal wanted to do a couple at 72,000. That's a big difference. Now, I don't know where you guys got your numbers from. Tell me. So, okay, let's keep going. We would like to see one other thing in here. The fire districts will provide through firefighting rescue services, force and utilizing apparatus and equipment. It maintains town with primary fire protection services capable of responding to fire-related emergencies on an ongoing basis within the protection district. Through the duration of this agreement, fire protection shall include responding structures, wildfires, fire drills, anything, hazardous materials, and search and rescue gas and odors. And then somewhere else in here, they kind of sneaked in a thing saying, which it's been lately, we know this, that there has to be mutual aid. But when you have just 2 guys and a pumper truck, what type of mutual aid are you gonna get? You're gonna have to call Lincourt, you're gonna have to call Mattydale, you're gonna have to call DeWitt. I just don't understand how you even thought that any of this would be protection for us in our area. We have hotels, we have businesses, we have part of Erie Boulevard. We go up Thompson Road to Springfield Gardens and Lemoyne College. We're over at Court Street. We're on Fly Road. We're all over. 19 square miles that we've protected for over 100 years. And you guys just decided to wipe it out. Generations of firefighters, volunteers that put their lives on the line every time there was a fire. We had a fire. One of my sons lived in a house a block over from where we lived. And one night I looked out the window and all I seen was flames. I go, oh my God. Well, the fire department was there fast and saved most of that building. And we could never have been more thankful for what they did for us. And I don't know how many other people in our area that's had fires say the same thing. Now you got nothing to do against these guys that are there, because they're just being put there by you guys. But you got the 2 guys and then the mutual aid. Where before you'd have 20 guys taking off, going to a fire. Now they gotta go to the fire and wait for the mutual aid to show up. And I don't think any of those buildings will survive. So
If you want to leave questions, your comments in writing, I'd be more than happy to circulate.
leave everything in writing.
You don't have to. I'm just offering you the option.
Reason why you, as the head guy, decided to influence all of these guys to take down a fire department. I never heard of it before, ever. Can you give me one example of someplace else that did this? No, you can't.
I can give you examples of other folks that go to contract.
Okay, I understand the contract thing.
The fire department did not directly contract with the town of DeWitt. The village of East Syracuse has historically contracted with the town of DeWitt. And in my many conversations over the decades, it has been pretty much the position of the village that they manage the fire department and we are a services contract. So that we supply 80%.
You don't lie here.
The history of the contract has been that the town of DeWitt contracts with the village of East Syracuse. The village of East Syracuse has historically had, and I don't know the status of it, a separate contract with the East Syracuse Fire Department, Inc. So the volunteer service is under the authority of the village of East Syracuse. We pay for a service that is provided to the North Town residents outside of the village. And we've done that historically for years. We have gone back and forth with the village for decades over this contract. We've had it on multiple occasions threatened that fire protection services would be withheld from our North Town residents
I doubt that.
with only days' notice. It's been a long and arduous journey to get to this point. But for this particular annual cycle, this board selected to go to a request for proposals for those services. And out of that request for proposals, and most of our communications have indicated to us that the village of East Syracuse was migrating or evolving to a paid department,
No, that is not true.
a hybrid
That is
department,
not true.
which was staffed with paid firemen. In our look at the village, many firefighters / even legal advisors have looked at the caretaker history and said, that's illegal. No, majority of the opinion is that the lower paid firemen that the village has employed would not withstand. And that if a migration to a paid department occurred, it would quickly be unionized and it would be on par with any other fire department in the area.
Where you
But,
get this
well,
stuff.
all right, so I'm not here to argue.
Okay,
I'm here to take your comment and listen to you. You asked a question.
and that is not
In
a
part,
viable
in part,
response.
the logic,
That is not a viable response. Okay?
then I will not.
All right, listen. They have what they call, what the hell is over here? First of all, you refused 3 times. You were invited to come to their meetings and negotiate the contract with them. Maybe it would be a little less, maybe a little more, I don't know. You refused to come 3 times. And the mayor of East Syracuse even asked you, and she was at the meetings waiting for you to come. You never came. You just decided in your little circle here to make up your mind of what you were going to do, and you did it. Okay?
It was not the contract that was being negotiated. It was
Yes.
the management of the department, the hierarchy, the hiring of a chief, those things. Every time we've ever tried to negotiate the contract negotiations have been rejected. And so you can't have it 2 ways. You can't have us involved in the management of the department and the structuring of the service and then not allow negotiations on the contract. So it's one or the other. It's a services contract. I don't care how my trash hauler staffs picking up trash. He's a services contract. I have an electrical contractor. We have a sewers repair contractor. We have a water repairs contractor. We have all sorts of service contractors. We don't monitor the fact that they're employing 10 people on a water break, or 12 people. We monitor that the water repair gets performed in a timely manner and that the repair withholds over time. And those are what's important to us. So again, we've gone back for 20 years, back and forth with the village over whether this was a services contract or we were engaged. We were more than happy to sit down and put together a joint management team.
Okay.
I'm not going to belabor the point anymore, but there's many people in this room that know the attempts we've made at trying to
Best value was
partner and
rejected.
manage.
3,500 ISO, one of the best in the whole north central, in the whole central New York. You cannot say that the East Syracuse doesn't have one of the best firefighters that have responded to anything that they have come to. Now you're putting people in that have no idea of what training they're going to need. What's that gonna cost you? $1 million for 2 new trucks because you don't have proper equipment that's in this contract. The contract says that you would have proper equipment and you don't. What are you saying about that?
I am saying it's up to the respondent to provide the proper equipment.
No, your contract right here. Whose contract is this? Wasn't this your contract with DeWitt? This was your contract, it says right in here. Maintain suitable apparatus and equipment, which will be provided to protect the protection district residents and property.
Did you tell any of these hotels that they don't have a ladder truck if they above 1 story? Well, I did. I've been calling hotels and motels, telling them, don't expect a ladder truck or a rescue truck to respond to those hotels. You got a big 10-story one going up over by the back of Denny's. No ladder truck, no rescue truck. DeWitt doesn't have a rescue truck. What are you gonna do on the thruway when you have 5 accidents and 3 people trapped? What are you gonna get? These acres got 2 rescue trucks that are full of it. And that's what's good about it. And then you say it's gonna save us money. You know, I talked to my insurance agent, every household in the town of DeWitt, the house insurance is gonna go up because of the low manpower and low engines in Station 2. I got that in writing. So how is that saving us money? I mean, if you want to save money, why did you waste so much money fighting that 81 project? That's my tax money. And you wasted it fighting that, knowing that it was gonna be built. You know what I mean? Like I said, you're all gonna be replaced. This is a bunch of bull.
Anybody else wants to sigh about that? Because maybe you don't live in this area. Maybe it's not your house you gotta worry about. Maybe it's not our manufactured building.
All right,
that you-
you're here to address comments to the board. I'm gonna move on. If there's anyone else that has, and again,
Something else.
any comments?
I want to say something. We had an emergency across the street from my house. 2 people died. They were old people. They died, were on a heart attack and stuff like this. They were old, Saturday night. They called these. And here comes 10 minutes later. A big engine. Do it. What the hell are they gonna do with 2 people heart attacks? And what happens if they get caught in a house fire or us and get trapped? I can see Station 1 from my deck. From my deck, I can see Station 1. I can't see Station 2. And I live 1 block over from James. When are you gonna do that? If those people got trapped? We knew them for 50 years. Oh, you don't know. You don't know until somebody gets killed. You know what I mean? And then you say, oh, we made a mistake.
The DeWitt Fire Department has an ISO rating of 2.
Not in this area, they don't, not in the area they just took over.
So,
In fact, Dyson came out and did a study on the Northern District before you did all this. And the Syracuse Fire Department went from a 5 to a 3, was only 100 points from a 2, which is high, the best for a volunteer fire department. And now ISO is gonna redo it and they're gonna jump to a 9, which means everybody's insurance is gonna triple in that section. Along with the hotels and everything else. And if you don't think your taxes, our taxes in that area are gonna triple in the next 4 years, you're sadly mistaken. Because our tax rate when the East Syracuse Fire Department was in that area was $1.68 per thousand. DeWitt's over on the other end is $3.88 per thousand. Who's gonna pay for all the equipment that she's talking about buying?
the 4 million.
Because if I'm correct, DeWitt owns all their own equipment because they're a fire district. You have no say on what they do over there. But yet you want to control over us. But then you turn around and got a contract with DeWitt, who you have no say in anyways. You sat here and complained that you didn't have any control over the village, but yet you did this exact same thing.
One of the reasons we chose to expand the fire district is we didn't want to.
You didn't
Three
even give
separate,
them a chance. That's the problem. You've been having arguments with that village for the past 8 years. It's been a personal vendetta against you, with you against them. Each of the mayors has had nothing but a problem with you. It started with Dan Lika, it went on to Tackman and Lorraine Beatty twice. The common denominator between you and the village and the problem is you. You're the only one that's dealt with all 4 of them.
And
Yeah, you've always had a problem with them. You've come out and said it all the time. But then you turn around and you come to the East Syracuse Fire Department, you say, hey, if you guys need any help with anything, please let us know and you'll give us whatever we want. What did you do when we came to you? Oh, there you go. You signed a contract with DeWitt under and back doors. Because their original proposal was $3.3 million. So that means next year their contract's gonna be $3.3 million because you haven't lowered it to beat out East Syracuse. And then the taxes are gonna go up for that. And then the next year is gonna be $5.5 million. Just for them to be able to hire 10 people.
The difference is we'll be able to put in a special tax zone in the district, which will provide 2 different rates. And we're moving to lower the cost on residents.
So let me get this straight. When we came to you and asked you for the 2% occupancy tax, you said no, you weren't gonna do it, but then you raised the 2% occupancy tax on all the hotels to do the Carrier Park. So the Carrier Park was more
I
than.
never said no on the 2% occupancy tax. I said we tried.
Many
We
times.
tried to get it for years. We.
Okay,
That was
wait a
for
minute.
police.
Wait a minute, I want to put one
Well,
more.
first of all, when ICE came to the volunteers, I never said I'd give you whatever you want. I asked,
You would help us out and.
I said you would help you out forming a structure that we could jointly manage with, and that's
And
consistent.
then when we went to
The village would be-
district, what was the first thing on your mouth? I will never allow another fire district in the town of DeWitt as long as I'm supervisor. That's exactly what you said.
Like fire district.
I don't like
And
fire.
I didn't allow another.
I want to say one
Going
more.
with the same one.
Just close one up. So what's the difference?
I want to say one more thing.
Yes.
I have been in touch with the comptroller's office
Mhm.
and they are taking an interest in this. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
But they're gonna look at your books.
Books in order.
They're looking at your books, every penny.
And if all these things were true that we said, I don't think you're gonna win. And I think you guys better all think about this. I don't know how you would undo a contract, but we're not giving up 100-year firefighters. Do you understand that?
We're not giving up. And hope and pray my house doesn't catch on fire, I'm trapped in there. Because there you will find the biggest goddamn lawsuit you have ever seen. You know what I mean? I'm a block away from East Syracuse and they have to come from Station 2
They don't,
with no rescue truck, with an engine. And I'm telling you, I did call all the hotels, telling them that East Syracuse Station 2 does not have a ladder truck.
is there any,
Or a rescue truck.
is there anyone else that would like to make a comment, question, or an issue with this board?
How is Town of DeWitt supposed to find houses when they had to call the first night and they were driving around the goddamn block because they couldn't find the house?
Yeah, they can't find a house. They gotta look at a
I was
screen.
outside watching them in Franklin Park, watching them drive up and down the street because they couldn't find it.
Because they don't live in our area.
They don't know the area.
And like I said, I'm not blaming anything on the DeWitt fire guy.
No, we're not blaming them. We're blaming you guys that are gonna be replaced. If I have something to say about, and these people have to say something, this backdoor bullshit has gotta stop. Amen.
Jack, you're done. I don't want to hear another.
That's enough.
Oh, you want what we're gonna do, kick me out?
No, I got other people that want to talk. There's a lady behind us standing up. Let her talk, please.
My bottom line is I've had the rescue trucks to my house a lot for my daughter. She has special needs. She has seizures. She chokes. They saved her a few times. Where are they gonna come from now? What is the response gonna be? How is that gonna affect my house?
It would depend
I
on
mean, I'm
the
really serious.
mutual aid.
And they're not gonna get mutual aid.
Gosh, I wanna hear.
You know what I
He
mean?
doesn't have an
It's
answer.
a question.
He doesn't have an answer.
I do.
He doesn't have an answer to that.
Jack, will you please be quiet and let everybody?
You got 2 miles coming from Station 2 to mine.
And the temper tantrum is gone as far as it's gonna go tonight.
Is that why you got him here?
No, he comes to all our board meetings, but he's here.
I was wondering because every time I come, I don't see a cop here.
Where is it gonna be?
I see you. I see you.
Him,
That dying butts, you know. and they say,
department is staffed with emergency medical technicians. Everyone that shows up in a uniform at your house should be able to handle a medical emergency.
All within the
You have your
same.
name, your phone number, I'll Jason Green call you.
And you have Amy. Don't
Hey,
forget
please.
Amy.
My name is Candy Sue.
Can I have Jason Green call you? He's the chief. You want to give him Andy your phone number right back there.
Angela.
And he'll tell you response time. We'll have facts and not fiction.
I know about that button you got, Mr. Ed, underneath your desk. That's why I thought he was here. You know what I mean?
He's been here every meeting.
Not to do anything. That would do anything, but, you know.
Is there anyone else that would like to address this board? Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know what response time is on.
My name is Brandon Gibbons. I'm the president of the East
To the board?
Wait a minute.
Oh, well, remember, we do have Amy.
When you said that there.
And he said nothing to do with the budget.
Jointly operate the Eastern Park Protection System. When was that going to happen? When did that come about? Because I offered on 2 separate occasions after the fire in Fallon's Trailer Park in 2022. To this board, sent to every member who was a board member at that time, ×2, to meet with us as a fire council and a fire department to discuss fire protection. And there was 0 response from any member of the board at that time. When was that gonna happen? When was that supposed to happen, Ed?
I had it on numerous occasions over the years. I do recall in the time frame that you're asking, a meeting was set up and I was invited to, and I would have thought that if you wanted me to come to a meeting, you would have asked me a date that I was available. But I was actually not in town on the day that you,
We sent you registered letters requesting dates.
Yeah.
We sent you 2 emails requesting dates.
and again, by the time all this had occurred, we were at a position where the contract was not negotiable. It was a
Why
service.
didn't you start in September with all this stuff? Why didn't you wait until December to call the TV guys?
I didn't call any TV.
No, I don't know who called them, but all of a sudden in December, you're gonna change. Why didn't you start this in September instead of December?
Oh.
And then everybody's on vacation and nobody can get a hold of anybody. That's kind of strange, in my opinion, you know what I mean?
Is this contract for 1 year?
Yes.
Would you be interested in negotiating with the East Syracuse Fire Department Incorporated against the village of East Syracuse?
As I talked with Mike Kramer,
Kramer does not represent the East Syracuse.
I understood. But as I told him, I thought it would be, because he called me right after Christmas with this proposal. And I told him I'd be more than happy to sit down and discuss with the DeWitt Fire Department, the generation of a hybrid going forward. But again, we're not going to supplant the fire department at this point in time. I don't think it's
The contract is.
good, maybe. But
The end of 25, their contract is up.
the end of 25, their contract is up.
Is it willing to be with the East Syracuse Fire Department Incorporated?
I will meet with the Syracuse Fire Department. I told Mike Kramer that after Christmas. Okay, all right, yeah, I'll,
The 3 times they invited you to come and you never showed up.
again, the position of the village has been, it,
Are you gonna sell Station 2 for $2 to the DeWitt Fire Department? That's in the contract. Are you gonna sell Station 2? Yes or no?
Can't sell Station 2.
most
It's
likely,
in the contract.
again,
It's in the contract.
there are points to be negotiated. It's contingent upon the special tax zones
Right.
Districts.
that come up with a reasonable rate for residents across.
So in the contract, it says $2 or $1. Does it say $1? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So you're gonna sell Station 2, the DeWitt Fire Department for $1?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Now you know.
I just have a question. If you back up a few minutes ago, you said that East Syracuse was gonna hire some firefighters to go paid, and then you said a hybrid department. The president McGinnis just asked you a question,
Yeah.
and you said we could become a hybrid fire department with DeWitt Fire Department.
Yeah, what we weren't gonna do was contract through the village. I've made that clear for the last.
Just asked you if you could negotiate with your corporation,
And I said I would.
but you said we couldn't be a hybrid fire department for East Syracuse, but now we could be a hybrid fire department with the DeWitt Fire Department?
I'm saying you couldn't.
You don't know what you said.
Yes, I did.
No check.
I said I wasn't, and I told
And as far as.
people this as far back, several years ago, I told folks that we were tired of being a gun pointed to our head. The last straw came on December 28th when we got a notice that fire protection services were being canceled in the north town. It was our position prior, because there's been multiple years that the contracts lapsed and we negotiated. Most of our contracts, when they lapse, they go into remain in effect until they're reauthorized under the new terms. And the village was going public on December 28th that the north town was gonna be unprotected as of January 1. And I want to tell you right then, they lost any ability to really sit and negotiate. with
No,
us.
you lost control is what it is. You wanted.
You can blame it on me.
And the village took away your control because they called out your number. You didn't like it. You didn't like being told by the village what you needed to do as a town. That's what it came down to, and you got your butt hurt.
Just hope and pray there's no fire on the hotels. Hope and pray, all those fake, calls you get is not one that takes some lives. Hope to God it's not, because,
Sure.
you know,
The December 28th you're talking about, what happened was that Village of East Syracuse Mayor Tackman, the two of you had a rollover clause in there.
Bob was not Tackman. I mean, he was not mayor then.
The year before he was. That's what he's talking.
That's what I'm talking about. The year
Letter we got
before,
is from Lorraine. Where, we have that letter?
the reason it fell on December 28th is because the previous contract that you negotiated for with Tackman had no increases for years for the fire department. And because that happened, it was a rollover. You guys had a rollover contract. And when East Syracuse negotiated to try to get some more money, That's when the contract ended, and you failed to read that before the end of the year to realize that we needed some more money to operate. Like I brought up when I was here before. The past 4 years, the East Syracuse Fire Department has gone up $137,000 in fire tax. That same 4-year period, the DeWitt Fire Department has gone up $1.5 million.
And the difference in what they get every year. Okay, wait a minute, we had.
So that's why you had a rollover. That was an error on the DeWitt Town Board to realize that the contract was being changed because they needed to negotiate for some money. For the fire department to operate. Fire department gets the money that the town sends over.
We would,
Operate on that money.
we would never leave the village without fire protection service. We would never threaten anyone with a failure or a lack of
It's a law that we can't,
protection service. We,
unless we have a.
I would have expected a call on December 28th that said, hey, your contract's up and we want to renegotiate. I wouldn't expected the threat to stop fire.
It's not a threat, it's a fact. Without a contract, we cannot provide fire service
And-
into that fire district.
And from what what you said before was you were out of town that week, 2 weeks on vacation. So you weren't anywhere to be found anyways.
Yeah, I always spend between Christmas and New Year's with my family.
Okay.
I don't
So it
apologize
sounds like the village could have contacted you and told you anyways, because you weren't answering your phone.
That's not true.
So you had no intention of negotiating because you were with your family when other families were lives put at risk.
So the contract was asking for $2,390,000 for East Syracuse for 19 square miles. DeWitt, $3,044,000. They got 9 miles. How do you, like I said, none of these numbers make any sense. You got manufacturers, you got hotels, you got everything in the 19 square miles. What does DeWitt got? They got a little bit of Genesee Street, but.
Yeah. All right, it's clear there's nothing I'm gonna say that's,
Asking you this question. DeWitt does not have the stuff that we have. And yet you think that they can go $1 million lower than what DeWitt has. For what?
And we got the airport too. Don't forget the airport. You know what I mean? DeWitt does not have the airport. When a plane comes in, they call mutual aid, actually. They don't have FedEx, UPS, Amazon now, but these guys went in there and trained in the building.
is there anyone else that wish to make a comment on this issue?
I do want clarification. You are willing to negotiate with the East Syracuse Fire Department?
I'm willing to sit down and listen. Yes,
Okay, when can I schedule that?
February, March, whenever.
Who do I schedule it with?
Angela,
And who do you want there?
whoever will attend with me.
Angela, thank you for all your information. You've been nice to me and everything. I asked, so.
All right, I'm gonna
Thank you.
close this session of the board.
But you will be always pleased if I have something to say about it. Oh,
We've heard you.
And I hope.
Sign up to vote and register to run.
Comptroller's Department of State of New York gets a hold of you guys.
Angela, please take the roll.
Better answers than what you had here.
Supervisor Mike Blanco,
Here,
Councilors, Chiarenza, Dueling,
Here.
Lee Hood, Rock Michelle,
Here.
Ian,
Here.
and absent is, Counselor Alex.
okay. All right, I'm gonna jump down, Sarah. You gotta be here all night. There's some department heads that have issues that. All right, Sandra, recreation hire?
Hi. So, I would like to present Hunter Farrell, the recreation director, for our department. He graduated from FM and attended SUNY Oneonta, where he obtained his bachelor in sociology. And he has had supervisor experience for before and after school program, where he worked directly with children and supervised staff. He has coaching background for a high school cross-country program and has worked as an outdoor instructor, creating and implementing outdoor adventure programs for middle school to high school students. I'm excited to have him on board. He can start tomorrow. He's done all his paperwork. And he's gonna be stuck on grade 7.
Did you get the start date approval from the comptroller?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board?
Well, I say, nice young man.
Yeah.
Say, good find.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll entertain a motion. From Joe, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Thank you. Alana? Yeah.
Issues on the first one on it shouldn't be request for waiver of a permit fee, it's a ZBA fee. This is for a house on Kinney Street where older couple and they were sitting home one day and someone drove a car into their house. And actually pushed the house off of the foundation. So the insurance company is requiring that they completely demolish and rebuild the house. Because of our code, completely rebuilding the house, it's a legal non-conforming structure, but now they require variances because it's being rebuilt. And it'll be on the same footprint, but it does require several variances and we'd like to waive the fee since it's no fault of their own. Yes. So the fee would be $550, which is $325 for the first variance, an additional $75 for each of the other variances. So they've paid $475. There'd be an additional $75 due in order for the board to hear the case on January 21st. So we'd like to waive the extra $75 and refund the $475 they've already paid.
Yeah, I learned of this and told Lana to put it on the board. Would be accommodating.
I think so, since this is through no fault of their own and they're using the same foundation. So they're literally just building it and it's our code that is causing these variances that they would need. So I think it's a very appropriate waiver.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
We just can't hear anything. Could they have a mic and could you please speak into your mic?
The Director of Planning and Zoning has a house that was struck by a vehicle and through no fault of their own, the house was destroyed. And now they're reconstructing, and so she's requesting a waiver of the permit fee that would be in the ZBA variance degree in order to rebuild their house. And so the board is likely to vote in favor of waiving the fee for this homeowner. I'll entertain a motion from Max, a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay,
Next item, we'd like authorization to hire Kyle Kusma as a clerk 2. Planning and zoning, Kyle would take Leah's position. Leah hopefully will be moving over in March to code enforcement. She's currently passed 4 out of 6 of her classes, so she's gonna be done like the first week of March. So we'd like to get Kyle in there and have him get trained by Leah before she moves on to code enforcement. If you'd like to start Wednesday.
we have an individual in the codes office that is serving as a clerk, and she's undergoing the training to code enforcement right now. And so soon she will be sliding into a code enforcement officer position. So the planning and zoning director is requested to hire a clerk, which will train under the existing clerk prior to her slide into the code enforcement slide. Okay, I'll entertain a motion from Joe, a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. The hire was approved.
Next thing is a change to our fee schedule. I sent out a summary of the main changes. I don't know if you want me to read that here or if you've had time to look at it. We're looking to schedule a public hearing for that.
I looked at them. One question I'll catch with you offline was seems like a permit fee on a building for business was lower than what might be expected of a homeowner. Because of it's $8 per thousand could add up quickly to. We'll catch it. I'll catch you offline.
I'd like a month, we could do like 2 meetings. That'd be nice. Get it all together and get it sent out. You know,
Residential is $8 per thousand and commercial
it's the biggest meeting in February would be
$1,000.
I don't think that's
Underneath
I
it.
changed. I think that's
Building.
It goes down the bigger the building.
at the,
There's a 5,000 square foot building underneath that
which fee are you looking at?
we'll deal with it. Off.
Okay.
If there's any changes,
I
just
might
let me
have-
know so I can put it in the final copy.
I doubt there'll be any changes. It just need a better understanding.
Do you think February 10th?
First meeting, just not next meeting. Get it done.
So February 10th at 6:05. I'll entertain a motion from Max, a second from Joe. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. We just went through agenda item 6. We're modifying our fee schedule. And we're set a public hearing for that on February 10th at 6:05. Okay. Codes training?
Yep, the final thing is a training Derek would like to go to for a group he just joined for code enforcement officers. It's the New York State Building Officials Conference, which I guess a lot of the code enforcement officers are in. So it's a 3-day conference. You can get all of the annual training that's required, $400. We do have money budgeted for training. I didn't know if I should be asking for authorization for something, just since it's a little more expensive. So.
If you've got the budget covered, is there any other associated expenses with that?
I don't believe so. No, it's local, so
I see it's Destiny, right?
yes.
Hey, if you haven't heard, the planning and zoning director is going to send an individual to a conference. It allows them to get their annual training credits. It's located here at Destiny at a cost of $400. I'll entertain a motion. Jack, a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Alana.
Hey, and can I cut in? I'd like to leave.
Sure. Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll go right to the top. I was coming back to you too. I didn't realize, I thought you were gonna be here for most of the meeting.
No, it's okay. I'm just not feeling well. I'm gonna try to knock out, but some of them are time sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay, these aren't presentations, by the way. I just hate the software program and couldn't figure out how to get it to just be a regular agenda item. First one is Good Cause, working with Counselor Nodija at Hernandez at the county level to try and coordinate that public meeting regarding an information meeting to bring good cause legislation to the town of DeWitt. Her team has proposed 3 dates, which these were provided to us last week. In looking at them moving forward, they're coming up quickly. So if we need to go back to her team to ask for a further timeline, please let me know. But she would like to propose the evening of Tuesday, January 28th, the evening of Thursday, January 30th, or midday on Saturday, February 1st. And this would be a 2-part meeting. The first part or second part would be one for tenants, the second for landlords, where we would, it'd be education and a feedback session. So we'd be providing what the town is looking for, what the parameters of the legislation would be, what impacts they would have to both tenants and landlords, but also understanding what the needs of both the tenants and the landlords are coming back to the town. So I don't know if we're able to schedule that now. If not, I can follow up with an email to everybody. Just looking to get this back to her, should we maintain the dates that were proposed by her team?
Does the board have a preference? I know my favorite right now is the 28th. That doesn't mean everybody else is
I
good.
think either the 28th or the 30th. An evening would be easier than a Saturday afternoon.
Agreed. I'm preferential to the 28th myself. So that would give us at least 3 people.
I can think it on the 28th.
Just says evening, so I don't know if thinking like 6 o'clock somewhere in there.
Have a 6 o'clock start and then maybe a 7 o'clock start for the second half.
So what's the date? So,
I think I should be able to do it.
yeah, I think, and
Okay.
the idea was if she could get it set up was at Lemoyne.
Yes, it would be at Lemoyne on a public transit line.
Okay.
And we need to get this out, and if we could get this on the website, and then, we just need to get it out via Facebook and other social media efforts.
It's more than 3 board members. Is there an issue?
Yeah, you have to.
Yes.
I mean, we just want to limit it to 3 for now.
Okay,
You can do it without
okay.
Okay,
any concerns.
okay,
That's good representation.
all right. Happy to build out an agenda for that and float it through for everybody to look at.
In case you didn't hear, what we're scheduling is a information meeting coordinated with the county regarding the good cause where tenants are invited to a meeting and then landlords to the same meeting to discuss the good cause legislation. We're looking at Tuesday, January 28th in the evening. This would be at Lemoyne. And then the question is, if more than 3 counselors show up, is it a violation of public officials law? Because we'd have to announce that. So that was what was being discussed and I don't know who heard what. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to, or do we don't even need a motion, right?
No,
Just
Nation.
schedule a meeting and let us know if you set the date.
The second one, I believe, does need a motion, and it's to create a lead mitigation and infrastructure task force committee. At the end of the day, I sat down with Rob and Doug, and we went through the infrastructure issues that we have here in DeWitt, knowing that we don't have a very good catalog of what our pipes are made of right now, but we have an idea of what neighborhoods would be affected. It's going to be a multi-pronged approach. It's going to be a significant infrastructure investment. And to help carry this through, we thought it best to establish a formal committee of town board members to make sure that all of the right areas are being hit. And a follow-up, I met with the state comptroller's legal team on Friday, which got me nowhere. But I did learn that we're going to need to create, if we don't already have one formally, a bond. We're going to need to retain a bond counsel to move this project forward. And that, Matt, I'll send it to you. There's a legal precedence here where the state may allow us to use public funds for private betterment as it pertains to lead mitigation. So there's an opportunity for us to utilize state and federal funding.
Overarching public purpose.
Yes. So if you're familiar with that, I have the contact for you.
Okay.
But I believe this one may need, the committee formation may need a vote.
We have bond counsel that we can speak to.
Yes.
For those of you that haven't heard, there's a push that's coming down from the federal level on the EPA and through the state of New York. And we obviously have concerns about this as well for lead abatement in drinking water supplies. Many of our older neighborhoods are serviced with pipes that haven't been inventoried or really without going underground, you don't know half of the issues. So Sarah is proposing this formation of a committee, which will include our water department, our highway department, and our engineers. And she's looking for bond counsel, and the state will have funds that may help private citizens in the conversion of their water service lines for lead abatement purposes to a safe drinking water supply. One of the legs up on this that we have is we're at the same time discussing meter replacement. So in the act of meter replacement, we'll be able to access the actual terminal service line to people's house, and we can have a professional make a judgment call as to whether they see or think there could be lead in servicing that house. And so we have over 10,000 service lines entering folks. And we know a lot of the neighborhoods that were built after 1965, 70 are fine. Any of the real problems occur prior to the 30s and the 40s. So our older neighborhoods along city lines and things of that nature are the real concerns to us. But we'll be inventorying this. And I'm gonna entertain a motion to formulate the committee and provide for, do you want two separate motions, one for bond counsel, or you want the committee?
They do need to be separate. I don't know if we need to do, we just need to have bond counsel in place prior to bringing this before the comptroller's team.
Motion tonight.
Huh?
It doesn't need to be a motion tonight.
Okay, yeah, it just needs to be in place.
We'll just formulate a committee.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so I entertain a motion to form, you could make the motion, sir.
Make the motion of
You came.
lead mitigation.
All right, I have a motion from Sarah and a second from Max. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Tom?
Oh, Jordan, I just wanted to,
Oh, no.
I just wanted to make sure that you folks know about the lead coalition that has been, is multi-sector coalition that's been around for a while, and Latoya and them are a part of.
Yes. We have to formalize and now we can begin to meet.
Perfect.
Thank you. That's all I had.
It's all right.
Right there.
Take a rest. Okay, I'm gonna jump back down to you, Matt, Tompkins County Health Consortium.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is a yearly request by Tompkins County Health Consortium from us and from every municipality that is a member of the consortium for health insurance purposes. They've made certain adjustments to their contract. Usually that just means they're adding and subtracting different members. Any of them, they've asked for a resolution, which Ange, I think is in here.
Yeah, so you need two motions, one to have Ed sign the contract, and then the other one for the worded resolution that's in the board packet.
First one, you can make a motion.
Okay, yeah.
Sign a
Yeah,
contract. I can read this motion here or not, or the board to read it. Motion based on it.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to authorize execution of the contract. A motion with Jack, a second with Carrie. Call for the vote, all in favor? Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay, and then the resolution. Yeah, go ahead.
A resolution approval of the 2025 amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement.
Can they hear you?
I don't have to speak very often. Does this work? The lights on. Cheers. Resolution approval of the 2025 amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement for the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium. Whereas the town of DeWitt is a participant in the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium, a municipal cooperative organized under Article 47 of the New York Insurance Law. Whereas municipal participants in the consortium, including this body, have approved and executed a certain municipal cooperation agreement effective October 1st, 2010, and whereas Article 47 of the New York Insurance Law and the rules and regulations of the New York State Department of Financial Services set forth certain requirements for governance of municipal cooperatives that offer self-insured municipal cooperative health insurance plans. Whereas the agreement sets forth in section Q2 that continuation of the consortium under the terms and conditions of the agreement or any amendments or restatements thereto shall be subject to board review and upon acceptance of any new participant hereafter. Whereas the municipal cooperative agreement requires that amendments to the agreement be presented to each participant for review and adopted by a majority vote by its municipal board. Whereas the town of DeWitt is in receipt of the proposed amended agreement and has determined that it is in the best interest of its constituents or served by the consortium to amend the agreement as set forth in the amended municipal cooperative agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that upon receipt and review of the amended agreement, the town of DeWitt approves at a meeting of the governing body held on January 13th, 2025, and authorizes the chief elected official to sign a 2025 amendment to the municipal cooperative agreement effective January 1st, 2025 of the Greater Tompkins County Municipal Health Insurance Consortium as recommended by the Board of Directors.
Any discussion? I'll call for motion. Have a motion from Jack, a second from Max. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, Angela, hire deputy town clerk.
All right. I'm presenting Nora Osmond to fill my vacant deputy town clerk position at a starting salary of $20.44, which is step 1, grade 5. Her start date would be January 27th. Her resume and background is submitted in the packet. Anybody has any questions?
Seems like a good choice.
What was the start date?
January 27th.
Yeah.
Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion. Carrie, a second from Jack. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Yes, F grant.
I told her you'd like that.
He read too.
Okay. Town board minutes of 12:3. Entertain a motion to accept. Second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. I have a motion for the 9th from Max and second from Joe again. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. We both present at the 11th. I'll have the motion from Max, a second from Joe again on the 11th. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, we can deviate it for the organizational meeting. Anybody want the motion? From Jack, a second. Carrie, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion's carried. Okay, Rock, heat pumps.
Yeah, we have, in this building, we have 2 heat pumps that are, broken and out of service. And, so we got a quote from Davis Mechanical, our HVAC contractor, for $13,616.91 for both of them furnished and installed. And they would like to start tomorrow with that installation. Anybody have any questions?
Make my office warmer.
Hopefully.
If you still can't hear, we had 2 broken heat pumps in the building. We have a number of them throughout the building, but I did tell Rock to go ahead and order them.
Heat pumps are about 6,500 now, huh, each?
Well, that's installation. I can get you a breakdown, probably a little bit less of that, but that's.
I mean, installed, yeah,
You're looking at probably 5,000 a piece. We'll get a breakdown.
and inflation. They're going up.
So the good news is our heat pumps are compatible with other systems too. So if we convert to a different source of energy, the same heat pumps can operate. Okay,
They covered the conference room B up there upstairs.
And both of them upstairs.
Should have the whole corner.
Yeah.
okay. All right, I have a motion from Jack and a second from Max. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay, we do have a water meter program, which I alluded to that we're organizing. A lot of this is in a contract negotiation stage, so I'm gonna move that into an executive session discussion. With that, it leaves us the check register.
Can I
Yes,
suggest something? Because we do have more people than we usually have here.
Yeah.
Just relating for information for the water meter. I know we don't want to talk about specific contract stuff, but if Rocco has, if we could just lay out kind of what we're thinking about a time frame for the next 6 months, a year, 18 months of what we're gonna be doing.
Yep.
If we go forward and, approve a contract within a week or two, they would like to start probably in March. Probably April, a little bit later, and probably a 12 to 18 month window of methodically going through the whole town, changing out everybody's water meter. I mean, depending on, the response we get, obviously, if we can get in and get scheduled dates and we can get in people's houses, it'll go quicker, but you know what I mean? If we have problems scheduling, it could go a little bit longer.
But the idea here is that since we do need to get into every residential home in town of DeWitt that is covered by our water department, that and our water system, that they'll be contacted for scheduling that.
Right, we'll be looking to replace your water meter and the next year and a half. And so we'll be trying to schedule those. And as already alluded, we'll be able to look at the water service inside to see if there's any signs of lead entering your home. Usually at the bend or the break points, foundation walls is where you might find a lead joint. And then the other issue is it's going to greatly expedite our ability to read your meter because these will be electronic meters, which will send a signal back to town hall. But we either currently have to come to your meter and read it. Those are limited. We have many more meters that we actually have to drive down the street in order to collect a reading. And so it is time and labor intensive. The new meters will give us the opportunity again to see if there's lead service, and it'll also expedite our ability to read your meters. Actually, which will help with breaks too, because if we have a 24-hour registry of your water usage on a computer system and something abnormal occurs, we'll be able to see that there's a huge discharge of water. Let's say you do go on vacation and you have a valve in your washing machine break or something. We'll be able to pick that up off of our in-house computer system and shut your water off. Okay. Check registry. Harry, everybody had a chance to look?
Yeah, I did. I looked at it and I looked at the police gate that we had installed by Atlas Fence. As I saw, we paid him $15,525 and I had a quotation. I just wanted to make sure it was the right amount. I don't want to sell it perfect, so. I talked to the police chief. Spencer's here and he said it's working fine, and Rocky had our electrical contractor, Mary, had come in and install new wiring for it to make sure it was up and running good, so everything's still okay, chief?
Working fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Then we're good, right?
Yeah.
Anyone that needs a signature for your classes or whatever, you can approach anyone on this board, can sign your paperwork.
We need a vote to accept the.
Oh, I thought we.
Got a vote to accept.
All right, I didn't know I have a motion from Jack and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. And then, yeah, you can come forward. We'll sign the paperwork. And enter executive session.
Is that?
Did we run out of agendas?
You can, yeah, any of the.
Sorry about
Anyone
that.
but us.
I don't.
I got a demo sign.
Hey, I'm not a board member.
Very entertaining, huh?
Yeah, all right.
That's, yeah.
How you teacher?
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah,
Gonna go in and take a second.
I remember.
Thank you.
Sounds like all of Andrew.
How many people don't have agendas? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
All right, there we go.
Almost. And I can sit up. You guys enjoy the meeting. I know, well, that's probably the most fire you get out of public comment. I guess you got to see that. Still didn't take too long overall, but.
Those are issues.
So basically. There isn't more, I'll put it that way. Basically, the way that the fire protection district is, town contracts with the Pacific Fire Department to provide fire protection in that area for many, many years. It's been the Village of East Syracuse Fire Department that has provided fire protection for the whole northern half of the town. They asked for a very large increase in the cost. And so we, as a town board, felt that it was important for us to make sure that we could provide that service safely, but also at some cost for the taxpayers. And so we went out through a request for proposal process where we asked other fire departments, hey, would you be able to provide the fire service in this area? DeWitt Fire Department, which is separate from the town of DeWitt, but that's the fire department.
I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Genesee Street.
You know what I mean?
They said that they could provide good full-time service rather than being volunteer, full-time firefighters that are actually staffing the station 24 hours a day up in that area, which is a better service than they have now. And that less money than East Syracuse was asking for. So the board made the difficult decision to go with them to provide that service. There's a lot of misinformation out there that she's saying there's two people going on. There's two people up there. They have it staffed with actually a full crew, people, 24 hours a day, rotating shifts. Basically, what we contracted with WIT was the same fire involved in providing a single WIT area. They're going to be able to provide.
Thank you.
On northern half.
I'm gonna say it.
We heard a little talk about that ISO rating. That's a rating kind of, it's not 100%, but it kind of tells me about the quality of fire district fire.
I didn't want to say you're having.
So every fall out any decision, nobody ever agrees with me 100% of the time. So that's what we're dealing with now. So
Proud of me right now. Passports wouldn't break that, the village. They didn't want to hear.
Part of it also is that we changed this day one, they're not gonna be staffed out. They were, they had like a lot of them, still staff and equipment to rotate. It's not, so they're moving towards the next, we haven't had any issues. They responded to.
I don't know.
Their calls, we've been in constant communication.
All you. They should all resign after hearing that.
Seems to be going well so far.
Don't they really? They're all. Yeah, all those guys are all hearing that.
That's what I said.
They don't even know what they're.
Confident that we're with fire department.
One woman, oh, thank you. That was good.
Thank you for coming.
And having Jason Collar is a good move. They're all medical technicians or paramedics.
Yeah.
They should be able to handle it. And we'll give the fire department her address, so they know.
Well, and just that word, I mean, having her talk to.
We're still in public
is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys are ready to get off of Zoom?
Ready.
You guys are.
I'll make a motion to enter executive session from Max, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same.
Yeah.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for coming out.
Is there a lot of observers online?
Hey, Mark.
There's not,